In the fallout from Wizards' OGL leak, and the announcement of Paizo's Open RPG Creative License, or ORC, there's been a renewed interest in the Pathfinder role-playing game system. Much of that interest is focused on Pathfinder 2, and rightfully so. It's new, it's shiny, it's got content coming out on a regular basis, and I do plan on digging deeper into this system myself. But Pathfinder 1 is still very much worth a look from new players and a revisitation from veterans. So today I'm presenting my 5 reasons you should be playing Pathfinder 1E in 2023. But before we start, if you're in need of a Pathfinder 1E adventure, have a look at Sorceress, the Dietrich House. Designed for a party of 4 level 3 characters, this adventure has sinister mysteries, unsolved crimes, and a haunted house with lurking terrors to challenge your players. As well as unexpected treasures courtesy of the dynamic and thematic loot system, which makes for unique and compelling rewards for those willing to brave the depths of the Dietrich House. Available right now on DriveThruRPG. Alright, starting off with number 5, Secondary Mechanics. Pathfinder 1E has numerous secondary mechanics that, if implemented, can really change the experience. Some of them are so robust you can even build an entire campaign around them if you so choose. A few of my favorite examples are Occult Skill Unlocks. Psychic casters like the Mesmerist, Psychic, and Occultist have access to unique uses for skills, such as using linguistics for automatic writing. This functions like the augury or divination spell, depending on how many ranks you have invested. Appraise can give you psychometry. This allows you to pull memories from seemingly ordinary objects. You can even use diplomacy for hypnotism to implant subconscious suggestions or recover lost memories. Another secondary mechanic I enjoy is exploration. This allows you to deal with areas too large to put on a normal map. And you can use skill checks to discover sublocations and contend with the hazards of the wilderness, frontiers, or even truly gigantic urban environments. The process of discovering locations and fighting the threats that appear there is very compelling if you can pull it off. Another great secondary mechanic are haunts. Fighting monsters is one thing, but fighting a place is very different, often requiring a unique approach, set of skills, and tactics. There's also ritual casting. Unlike 5th edition rituals, which are more centered around utility, Pathfinder 1E rituals are very powerful, even game-changing. But enacting a ritual requires multiple skill checks, multiple casters, and even a side quest just to discover how to perform the ritual in the first place. The last secondary mechanic I'd like to cover is the corruption system. This allows you to get much deeper into what happens when a character becomes a werewolf, vampire, lich, or other such creature. This allows you to make saves and checks to preserve your sense of self and keep the curse in check. There are all kinds of exciting secondary mechanics scattered throughout the Pathfinder 1 books and supplements for you to discover as you search for new ideas to help your next Pathfinder campaign really pop. Alright, that brings us to reason number 4, the bestiary. Pathfinder 1E's bestiary fills 6 whole volumes with an incredibly diverse array of monsters for any environment and situation. One of the things I really appreciate about the Pathfinder 1E bestiary is the CR. There's such a wide selection of monsters with varying power levels for players to fight. Whether you're talking about a team of rookie level 1 adventurers or practical demigods with mythic tiers, you're guaranteed to find something for your players to tackle that will make for a memorable battle. Also, Pathfinder monsters have great special abilities. They have so many offensive and defensive options. They can make fights feel very unique. Players can never really rely on what's worked in the past when there are so many options for something new and terrifying to come at them. Now, I know I've said the words variety before, but it really is true. In addition to the normal D&D staples drawn from the folklore of Western Europe, and of course the classic D&D monsters inherited from previous editions, Paizo has scoured the nooks and crannies of different cultures and traditions for inspiration for their own bestiaries. Players can face the likes of Japanese yokai, monsters from the indigenous peoples of the Americas, and even internet horror legends like Slender Man when you're playing Pathfinder 1E. Finally, the Pathfinder Bestiary has fantastic supplementary information. Monster supplements explain things like behavior, tactics, backstory, and methodology. It not only helps out the GM, but it can give the players options as well. Understanding things like the tendency of shambling mounds to behave oddly during thunderstorms, the sinister cabals of will-o-wisps called strings, and goblins' innate fear of the written word can make for memorable monster encounters with a unique twist. Reason number 3, classes and archetypes. From the original classes in D&D 3.5, Pathfinder added to, combined, and produced even more variations of your standard adventurers. The core classes found in the core rulebook focus on embodying the spirit of early D&D, and everyone is a good old-fashioned adventurer through and through. Later we got the base classes, such as Alchemist, Magus, Gunslinger, and Summoner. And of course, those are just a few. These classes are more unique, with powerful abilities and exciting mechanics. Also, there are the hybrid classes. This group of classes takes aspects from 2 separate classes and combines them in interesting ways. Some examples are the True Blue Battle Bard, the Skald, which combines Barbarian and Bard. The Romantic and Adventurous Swashbuckler, which combines features of Fighter and Gunslinger. And of course, the Profoundly Lethal Slayer, which is a combination of a Rogue and a Ranger. Now, I also have to mention a personal favorite, the Occult classes. This is a rework of the Psionic classes from D&D with a spookier, more esoteric flavor. They come from the book Occult Adventures and introduce a set of classes with a magic system all their own. Psychic magic, which has interesting twists on spells that you're familiar with. And if that wasn't enough, you can't forget the archetypes. Whatever class you want to play, 1E provides you so many different archetypes, which provide a different flavor on the class identity and expand on it in interesting and unique ways. You don't need to feel bad about playing the same class over and over again when you've got access to so many archetypes. Reason number 2, the adventure paths. Over the course of its publication, Pathfinder 1E had some great adventures on the world of Golarion. Some of my favorites include Rise of the Rune Lords. An early adventure, this campaign sees a group of unlikely heroes taking on the dark legacy of an ancient empire of demonic magic. There are foreboding ruins to explore, supernatural monsters to fight, and glory to be won. I'm also fond of Carrion Crown. Dripping with pulp horror atmosphere, this campaign sends its heroes into some of the darkest places on Golarion to do battle with the horrors that stalk the night. Perfect for fans of Universal Monsters, Hammer Horror, or the Victorian horror stories that inspired them. I also have to mention Rain and Winter, proof that there's nothing fair about fairy tales. This campaign sends the party into the north to match wits with hags, witches, and the monsters that stalk the frozen wastes of Baba Yaga's realm. Finally, I have to talk about Kingmaker. In a campaign of Kingmaker, either you win or you die. But seriously, if political intrigue and the power games of royalty are your thing, this one is for you. Especially if you enjoy high stealth or social skills kind of characters. And also there's a lot of Civ in there. A lot of kingdom building. But those are just a few of my favorites. Pathfinder 1E has many different adventure paths. Want to be a pirate? Check out the Shackles. Want to explore ancient tombs in the jungle? There's an adventure path for that too. Want to fight aliens in your fantasy game? Iron Gods is where it's at. Alright, now it's time for my number one reason to play Pathfinder 1E in 2023. The system is very mechanically rewarding. So there are a lot of different tabletop RPG systems out there, and they can emphasize different things. Some like the fail-forward mentality that a lot of role-playing intensive systems have adopted, things like Powered by the Apocalypse. Others might gravitate to the punishing difficulty of things like the classic D&D adventures or the absolute meat grinder of Call of Cthulhu games. But the reason why I enjoy Pathfinder 1E as much as I do is it's very rewarding for build mechanics, for knowing what you're doing. I'm going to give a brief digression to tell a personal gaming story that kind of emphasizes what I mean and one of the things that I look for. The first time I really understood the tool set a game was giving me and how to use that to my advantage was in the game Fallout 3. This is where I first figured out how powerful stacking bonuses can really be. I combined a very high energy weapon skill, a very high stealth skill, the sniper perk to make headshots easier in VATS, and the ninjutsu perk to grant me 25% more sneak attack damage, as well as the A321 plasma rifle to decapitate and liquefy every enemy I ran into in the wasteland. I had a blast doing it, and I had just as much fun figuring out how to do it. Pathfinder's numerous floating modifiers, which have received some criticism from players who don't like crunchier games, can be very powerful if you understand how they fit into your build and what you want to accomplish. A +2 here, a +1 there, it all adds up to some devastatingly powerful builds. Another thing I really enjoy about the system is how it rewards knowledge of what you're dealing with. Rangers, Inquisitors, and Paladins are rewarded for understanding enemy types and how to use their skills. Also, powerful enchantments like Holy and Anarchic are incredibly useful in the right circumstances and much less useful if employed incorrectly. What separates Pathfinder 1E from other systems that have situational effects is the extent to which it allows for failure. Let me give you an example. Let's compare a Paladin's Smite in Pathfinder 1E to the D&D 5e Divine Smite ability. In 5e, your Paladin can smite a creature of any type you choose. It doesn't need to be evil. Granted, you do get bonuses when your target is a fiend or undead, but it's a much more versatile tool than the Pathfinder 1e equivalent, which is only useful in a select number of circumstances, but in those circumstances, you absolutely want to have it because it's one of the best things to have. So, if you go into Pathfinder 1e with the mindset that it's a crunchy system, you get a lot of power from numbers and from understanding what exactly you're dealing with, you can have an absolute blast watching your build come together and finding the exact spot to hit the bad guys. Thank you very much for watching my top 5 reasons you should be playing Pathfinder 1E in 2023. If you're looking for a place to pick up Pathfinder 1E books or game accessories, check out Noble Knight Games. And if you're interested in a haunted house adventure for a low-level party, check out Sorceress, the Dietrich House, available right now on DriveThruRPG. Now, if you're looking for more strategy guides and build videos, check out D6Damage on BitChute or YouTube. Finally, if you'd like to take your game further, join the D6Damage Discord, where we have fantastic discussions about all aspects of the game, character builds, RP guides, and much, much more.